Hello, my name is Jason Gorenstein, and this is our Hatha Yoga Level 1-2 class. Today is Monday, June the 29th, 2020. The time is just about 12 o'clock, and I am bringing to you live streaming yoga, as always, every weekday, Monday through Sunday, actually. And believe it or not, this class is being pre-recorded just so that based on my schedule, I needed to pre-record this class. So hopefully you guys can enjoy this class. I won't be here at the 12, so hopefully you can still practice and enjoy the practice. So without further ado, let us begin. We're going to begin in child's pose. Just allow yourself to bring your weight onto your mat. Knees about hips width distance apart, feet together. Extend your arms forward of the chest and just begin to allow your breath to become long and slow here. All right. So, as you find your way onto your mat, we're going to start in child's pose. And as I shared, knees are about hips width distance apart, feet are together, and just extend your arms forward in front of you. Release the forehead down to the mat, and just begin to allow your eyes to relax deeply down towards the floor. Now, as you continue to breathe here, just let your hips release back towards the heels, breathing into the back body, and releasing your breath long and slow here. So oftentimes we check into class today. This is a great opportunity for us to breathe into the back of the spine, allow for more energy to flow through the body and the breath. And on the next breath, inhale, peel the chest on up, find your way into tabletop pose. And as you exhale, press on back, downward facing dog. Good. So as you find your way into downward facing dog here, spread across the fingers, firm the outer upper arms in, and breathe here. Let the fingers press down into the mat. Let the heels lengthen towards the back of the room as you release the head on down. On the next breath, shift forward into a plank pose and spread across your fingers. As you spread across the fingers, feel your pointer fingers pressing down. Feel your thumbs pressing down. Feel all the other fingers spread wide apart. So see that those fingers continue to press down on the mat. As you feel your shoulders wrapping out and in, feel those heels pressing on back as you lengthen the chest on forward. On an exhale, find your way back into downward facing dog. Good. As you inhale, shift forward into plank again. Once again, spreading across the fingers, firming the outer upper arms in, and breathing here as you engage the belly, engage the core muscles here. As you exhale, shift back, downward facing dog. On the next breath, you will step your right foot in between your hands as you release the left knee down. Inhale, float your arms up towards the ceiling, Anjali Asana pose. So see that left calf is moving down towards the mat. See that the left thigh is drawing back towards the left hamstring. Feel both sit bones releasing down the back of the body as you lift through the top of the chest. On an exhalation, release the hands down to the sides of the body. Walk the right foot out slightly. And as you press down the right palm into the right thigh, inhale, begin to draw the right palm up towards the ceiling. As you press down rather through the left palm in towards the mat. So as you continue to breathe here, draw the outer right hip back. Lift the right side of the chest up. And breathe here as you allow the shoulder blades to move in and up towards the spine. On an exhalation, take the right hand down to the mat, step the right leg back, find your way back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Downward facing dog pose, release the knees down to the mat, step the left foot in between the hands. Inhale, float the arms up. So this time as you press down through the right calf, right thigh presses back, engage your core muscles, engage your belly here. And continue to lift up through the chest. So as you take your arms forward in front of you, wrap your outer upper arms in, and begin to float the arms up towards the ceiling here. Press down through the right calf, press back through the right thigh, and breathe. On an exhale, take your hands down to the mat, and walk your left toes out to the left. Now press your right palm down to the mat. See that the right shoulder draws in and up towards the spine. And then press down through the left palm to open up the chest. On an inhalation, raise the left arm up towards the ceiling. So as you breathe here, continue to draw the left outer hip in. Continue to wrap the right outer tricep back and in. And feel both sides of the chest drawing towards the crown of the head. Breathe here as you lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. On an exhalation, release the left palm down to the mat, lifting up through the right foot, stepping the left leg back, downward facing dog pose. And downward facing dog pose here, just spreading across the fingers, lifting the inner forearms up, wrapping your outer armpits in. And breathing here as you press the thigh bones back towards the hamstrings. From downward facing dog, walk the hands back to the feet, come into a forward fold. Interlace the thumbs here and just release the head on down. See that the weight travels forward from the heels to the toes. See that the eyes release towards the eyelids and release the head on down. Good. Now take your hands, place them into the low back. Inhale, peel up the chest. Find your way into standing. Find your way to the top of the mat, Tadasana pose. So spread across the fingers here. Lengthen through the side ribs and breathe. Inhale, float the arms up and above your head. Maybe allow the fingers to touch here. On an exhalation, draw the hands down the body and release the hands down to the mat. As you inhale, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. And as you exhale, release the hands back down. On an inhale, raise the arms up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, glide the hands back to the sides. Once again, inhale, raise the arms on up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, lengthen here. On an exhale, release the head on down. Inhale, raise the arms up towards the ceiling, palms come to touch. And on an exhalation, bring the hands back down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, raising the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthening. Take the hands to the mat, walk the feet back, downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose here, float the right leg up towards the ceiling. And see that you lift through the right inner thigh crease. Continue to press down both fingers. Continue to draw the left outer hip back and the right outer hip in. Draw the right knee into the chest, round the spine, and step the right foot in between the hands. Walk the right toes to center, spin the left heel down. Inhale, warrior two pose. As you take warrior two pose here, begin to bend deeply into that right knee. And see that the right knee is in line with the right second toe. Allow the left arm to pull back to the left side of the room as you bend more deeply into that right knee. Good. See that both sides of the chest are spreading into the fingers. Straighten across that right leg. Allow the right outer hip to draw back. Allow the left outer hip to draw forward. And bend deeply into that right knee again. Now take your right hand inside of the right leg and lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. As you breathe here, draw the right buttocks underneath the body. Allow that right knee to bend a little bit more deeply. Now look up at the left fingers. Turn the left palm to the back of the room. Release the left palm back behind you and look down at the floor. Continue to wrap the right tricep back and in. Look once again back to the center of the room. Inhale, raise the left fingers back up towards the ceiling. Let the left arm lift us up and back into warrior two. Straighten across that right leg once again. Now as you bend deeply into that right knee, one more time, spin the left fingers up towards the ceiling and bring both hands down to the mat. Step your right leg back and find your way into downward facing dog pose. From downward facing dog pose, shift into plank. Spread across the fingers and allow the chest to lengthen forward. Allow the side ribs to lengthen on back. Good. Lower the knees down to the mat. Bend the elbows in. Lower the chest all the way down. Now take the hands, walk them back. Firm the outer upper elbows in. And breathe here as you lengthen through the chest. Let the tops of the feet release down to the mat. Let the buttocks lengthen towards the heels. And breathe here as you draw the shoulder blades into the center chest. On an exhalation, tuck your toes underneath. Press down through the hands, float your thighs back. Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog pose, release the head down towards the mat and breathe here. Allow the inner forearms to lift up. Allow the outer upper arms to wrap on in. Good. And as you feel ready, float the left leg on up. So as the left leg floats on up, draw that right hip back. See that left hip drives back as well. Feel the fingers spreading wide here as you hug the belly in. On an exhalation, step the left foot in between the hands. So I'm going to spin over to the other side of the mat so you guys can see. Spin the right foot down to the mat. Firm the left outer buttocks in. Inhale, windmill the arms up. Warrior two pose. As you take warrior two pose, sink a little bit more deeply into those hips. Spread across those fingers and breathe here. Straighten across that left leg and bring your hands to the hips. So see that left heel is in the center of the mat. See that right foot's turned in. Bend deeply into that left knee. Take your arms out to the sides. So draw your right arm back, bend into that left knee, and just allow the arms to release down as you lift up through the center chest. Good. On an exhalation, glide your left hand inside the leg and take the right arm up towards the ceiling. Now draw the left buttocks in and breathe here as you lengthen the left side of your chest forward and draw the right outer hip back. And take the right hand, drive it back behind you, and begin to glide the chest up towards the ceiling here. Lengthening up through the chest, the heart, the sternum, as you breathe here. Good. Inhale, raise that right arm up towards the ceiling. Let the right arm lift you up. Come back to Warrior Two. Straighten across that leg. One more time back into Warrior Two. This time spin the right fingers up towards the ceiling. Windmill your hands down to the mat. Step your left foot back to meet the right at the back of the mat. Find your way back into downward facing dog pose. So again, downward facing dog pose, spreading across the fingers, lifting the inner forearms up, wrapping the outer triceps in. From here, just begin to look in between the hands. Walk the feet forward to the front of the mat. As you inhale, lengthen through the chest. And on an exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, raise the arms up towards the ceiling, Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, glide the hands back to the sides. So take your hands to your hips. See that your feet are pressing down. See that your chest is lifting up. Bend into that left knee. Spin the left heel in. And now lift the left leg up so that the left foot comes in contact with the right thigh. See that the right thigh presses into the left foot. See that the left foot presses into the right thigh. Take the hands to the center chest here. Allow your chest to lift on up. Allow the shoulder blades to move down the spine. Now as you breathe here, just continue to find your breath as we move into Vrikshasana or tree pose. Tree pose, lift the arms up and over the head and continue to lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum. So draw the left foot into the right thigh, draw the right thigh into the left foot, and breathe here. As you feel ready, take your hands into the center chest and release the left foot on down. We're going to take the other side of the pose. So as you feel ready, bend the right knee, spin the right heel out, and then glide the right foot up to the left thigh. Press the left thigh into the right foot, press the right foot into the left thigh, and take the hands into the center chest. Continue to feel this rooting action through the left foot as you lengthen up through both side ribs. On an inhale, sweep the arms up and over the head and raise the fingers to even sides of the room. Keep wrapping your inner, outer, upper arms in. And breathe here. Lengthening through the chest, the heart, the sternum. Good. And on an exhalation, take your hands back into the center chest. Take your right knee, bring it on in, release your right leg on down. Good. As you inhale, float your arms up towards the ceiling, Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, hinge and fold. On an inhale, lengthen the chest. So as you lengthen the chest, take the outer upper arms back, lift the center chest up, and breathe in as you lengthen your side ribs forward. On an exhale, release on down. Now take your hands, place them onto your mat, walk your feet back, downward facing dog pose again. Downward facing dog pose, step the right foot in between the hands. Spin the left heel down. Inhale, Warrior Two. So from Warrior Two pose, let's straighten across that right leg once again, and we're going to hinge at that right hip. Release the right hand down outside of the right leg. Lift the left arm up towards the ceiling. See that you press down through the left pinky toe side of the foot and begin to revolve the left side of your chest up towards the ceiling. Draw both shoulder blades back, down the spine, lift up through those left fingers. Good. And on an inhale, lift that left arm up and deeply into that right knee. Take the arms out to the sides, Warrior Two. Warrior Two pose, straighten across that leg again. One more time, hinge at the hips and take Utthita Trikonasana pose. So the right outer hip drives back and in. The left ball of the foot presses down and the left thigh draws back. Allow both sides of the chest to spread apart. Allow the shoulder blades to lengthen along the back side of the body. As you breathe here,
Keep lifting through the chest. Keep spreading those shoulder blades wide apart. Collarbones are spreading wide apart. Inhale, lifting that arm up. One more time, bend deeply into that knee. Okay. From here, take your right hand down inside of your right leg. Lift the left arm up towards the ceiling. Now glide the left fingers down to the mat, over the head, and forward in front of you. As you spin the left outer arm down and in, keep pressing through the left pinky toe side of the foot. Allow the left side of the chest to lengthen here. Allow the right side of the chest to lengthen. Bend more deeply into that right knee. Now take the left hand behind the back and just release it here as you lift through the chest. Good. Inhale, float that left arm up. Glides us back into warrior two. Straighten across that leg one more time. Bend into that knee, windmill your hands back down to the mat, and step your right leg back to meet the left.
Downward facing dog pose.
Again, downward facing dog pose, shifting forward into plank, lowering those knees down, lowering the chest down. So we walk the hands back, and we see that the elbows draw in towards the body. As you press through the fingers, firm the outer upper arms in. Feel the shoulder blades moving in towards the sternum. Press the tops of the feet down. So as we press down through the hands, we begin to straighten the arms and wrap the outer upper arms in. Now we walk the feet in here as we lift through the top of the chest. On an exhale,
We hinge those feet back and we come back into downward facing dog pose. Good.
downward facing dog pose, we're going to step the left foot in between the hands. So I'm just going to glide onto the other side. Spin the right heel down. So we firm the outer left hip in, and we breathe here as we revolve the arms up and come into warrior two pose. Warrior two pose, straighten across that left leg, hinge at that left hip, and lift through the right arm. So keep pressing through the left big toe mound of the foot, keep driving the left buttocks in. Keep lifting through the right arm here as you breathe. Good. Inhale, lifting that right arm up. Bend deeply into that left knee. Bend deeply into that left knee. Bend deeply into that left knee. One more time, straighten across that leg. One more time, bend deeply into that knee. So we're going to come in a little differently this time. Let that left arm, or right arm rather, lift on up. Firm the outer left buttocks in. Keep drawing the left side of your chest forward as you press back through the right ball of the foot. Take the right hand down, glide it back, glide it up and over the head. So as you press down through the right pinky toe side of the foot, begin to lengthen the left side of your chest forward. Look up towards those right fingers and spin that right upper arm down. Good. On an inhale, raise the right arm up towards the ceiling and allow that arm to drive back behind you. Keep bending into that left knee. On an in-breath, raise that right arm up and once again come back into warrior two pose. Straighten across that left leg. Again, hinge at that left hip and come back into triangle pose. From triangle pose, keep lifting up through those left fingers. Press down through both feet, firm both outer thighs in. And breathe here as you lift up through your top arm. So the top side of the chest is lifting up as we breathe here. Let that arm lift us up, bend deeply into that left knee, and then windmill the hands down to the mat. Step the left leg to meet the right at the back of the mat, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog pose, shift forward into plank. Plank pose, shift back.
Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog pose, be here for a moment. Just begin to spread across the fingers. Feel the inner upper legs lengthening back. Feel the outer heels lengthening back. Feel the outer feet lengthening back. So you can almost feel like your legs are strengthening you or lengthening you back to the back of the mat.
And one more time, we're going to step the right foot in between the hands. Spin the left heel down. Inhale, warrior two pose. Straighten across that right leg. As you come here, begin to hinge at that right hip and release your right hand down to the mat. So one more time, triangle pose. Lots of triangles today. All right, so triangle pose, take your left hand to the left hip and look down at your right foot. See that your right knee begins to bend to 90 degrees and step your left foot in. Now step your right hand out and begin to shift the weight onto the right fingers as you float the left leg up. As you float the left leg up, begin to straighten across the right leg and begin to pivot your chest to the side so you begin to spin your eyes to face the side of the room. Inhale, float the left arm up towards the ceiling. So here, we continue to engage that right outer buttocks in. We continue to feel the left outer thigh drawing down as you lift through the left side of the chest. So the body is moving into 5 directions here. The crown of the head, both arms, and both legs. So we have a nice little elongation in all sides of the body. On an exhalation, bend deeply into the right knee and softly lower the left foot down. Find your way back into triangle pose. Triangle pose, lift the chest up, and then we're just going to spin our feet down into the other side. So as we come to the other side, quick glance at the feet. Just see that the left foot is parallel to the inner edges of the mat. See that the right foot is turned in. Arms come out to the sides, hinge at that left hip, and glide the left hand down outside of the leg. Right arm up towards the ceiling here. Now as you breathe, keep lifting through that right arm. Keep pressing through the left ball of the foot. Now take your right hand, place it on your right hip crease. Good. From here, begin to look down at that foot. And as you bend deeply into that left knee, you're going to step the left foot out about 8 to 12 inches diagonal of the left. Good. Left hand to left foot. And as you feel ready here, step the right foot in, step the left foot forward, or left hand forward. Inhale, float the right leg up. Now lift up through the right fingers here and begin to breathe as you lengthen through the 4 corners of the body. So the right arm floats up towards the ceiling, the right arm floats on back, the left leg presses on back, and the left arm presses on down. So our body is moving into 5 directions. The crown of the head is floating back slightly. And as you breathe here, just keep lengthening through the 4 or 5 corners of the body. So both arms, both legs, and the crown of the head. And on an exhale, just bending deeply into the left knee, release that right foot on down. Good. Inhale the right arm up. Let the right arm lift us up, bend into that knee, and then straighten across that leg. Take both hands to the hips. Turn both feet in towards one another. So from here, as you feel ready, you're going to take the hands and you're going to place the hands right behind the back, interlacing the fingers. This is called Prasarita Padottanasana C. So as you feel ready here, lift those arms up towards the ceiling and begin to rotate the inner, outer, upper arms in. So the outer, upper arms in, rather. And as you continue to breathe here, just see that you're lengthening the chest, the heart, the sternum. The inner, upper arms in, rather. Okay, so as you breathe here, continue to lift those arms up. Continue to lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum. And as you inhale, raise the chest on up and come back to standing. Interlace the fingers the opposite way. And as you breathe here, begin to float the chest up, the heart up, the sternum up. And on an exhalation, hinging forward and releasing on down. So continuing to breathe here. Continuing to lengthen out through the chest, the heart, the sternum. And just releasing the chest on down. And inhale, lifting on up one more time. All right. So from here, let's just step the feet back together, come back to Tadasana pose, so standing mountain pose. See that the fingers are spread wide apart. Allow the feet to come either hips width distance apart or feet come together. Both options are okay here. Now let's take the hands to the hips once again. Let's bend the knees and let's take the left leg over the right. So this is a variation setting up Garudasana legs. As you feel ready here, take your arms, make field goal pose with your hands. Begin to glide your left elbow underneath the right and spin your arms around as you lift those elbows up. On an exhalation, just begin to lean on forward as you lift the chest on up. So draw the legs back in towards each other, but lift the sternum up and breathe here. So this is called Garudasana's pose. You may want to take the left leg and wrap it around the right, or you can just leave it here. Good. As you feel ready, inhale, lifting up, uncrossing the arms and legs, and taking the hands back down to the sides. So one more time, we're going to take the right leg, cross it over the left, and take the hands into field goal post. So as you feel ready here, glide the right arm under the left and lift the elbows on up. Hinge the weight forward, and lift the chest here. So this is once again Garandasana pose as you squeeze the outer upper legs in. Keep lengthening through the chest, the heart, the sternum as you breathe here. Good. Now uncross those legs, uncross those arms. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. On an exhalation, glide the hands back and down to your sides. Okay. So from here, we're going to take Utkatasana pose. So I'm going to have you take a block and place a block in between your legs. And as you place a block in between your legs, you're going to take a block in between your hands. And as you sink on down, kind of sit on down into that block, you're going to take the block forward with your hands. So you're hugging the knees together, and you're squeezing the block in between the hands, and you're breathing here. And on an in-breath, raise those arms up above the head. And on an out-breath, just bring the hands to parallel. Good. Stay here. Inhale, raise those arms up above your head. Exhale, bring the hands back to parallel. Keep sitting down. Inhale, arms up above the head. Exhale, hands come to parallel. One more time. Inhale, arms up above the head. Exhale, hands to parallel. So let's straighten those legs. I'm going to take this block and bring these blocks out and place them on the sides. Okay. As you come back to parallel, inhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling. On an exhalation, hinge those hips
And release the hands all the way down.
As you inhale, lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum as you breathe here. And on an exhale, take the hands back down to the mat. Walk the feet back, downward facing dog.
Downward facing dog pose. Just begin to step the right foot, release both knees down to the mat.
Take the hands, interlace the fingers here, and wrap the fingers on in. As you press down through the wrist, forearm, and fingers, begin to walk the left foot back, begin to walk the right foot back. Good. Now press down through the wrist, forearm, fingers, and begin to walk the toes in. So the toes are in, but the buttocks is lengthening back towards the heel. So don't lift up that buttocks. Just keep the belly firming in here and breathing. So we're going to take a minute here to hold plank, forearm plank, and just breathe. And as you take forearm plank, you're going to see where you can soften and relax. Ideally, in this pose, you should be able to find a sense of relaxation, even though we're in a very active pose here. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And lower those knees down. And then as you feel ready, pressing your palms on down, float the legs back, downward facing dog.
Good. And from downward facing dog, once again, you're going to step the right foot in between the hands. This time as you step the right foot in between the hands, keep the right foot next to the right palm. See that left heel is pressing back and down. And float the arms all the way up towards the ceiling here. Now straighten across that right leg and take the hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers here as you draw those elbows back and lift through the top of the chest. Now bend deeply into that right knee, hinge forward, and take the arms up and above your head. Firm the right outer hip in and lengthen that left heel on back. And breathe here as you lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum. Good. Inhale, lift these arms up all the way. And as you interlace the fingers, lift them up towards the ceiling. Now lower that left knee down to the mat. Keep lifting up. And as you exhale, bring the hands back down. Release the head down towards the mat here. And breathe into those legs. And as you exhale here, Just release on down. Now take that right leg, sweep it on back, and find your way back into downward facing dog pose again. And downward facing dog pose, step the left foot and bring it to the hands. Press the right heel back, bend that left knee, and inhale, lift the chest all the way up. Interlace the fingers behind the back and draw the hands back down towards the floor. Lift up through the chest, heart, and sternum.
And on an exhale, glide those arms up and over the head. Breathe here as you lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum, and breathe out as you release on down. And breathe in, and breathe out. Good. And as you feel ready, inhale, lift the chest, heart, and sternum up again. And as you exhale, release the hands down to the mat. Walk the hands inside the legs, release the right knee down. And breathe in the lizard's pose again. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, so stepping your left leg back, finding your way back into downward facing dog. Shifting the weight forward again into plank, and we're going to come into Vashisthasana this time. So shift the weight over to the left hand, left foot, and lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. You can always lower that left knee down if you need to. So keep both sides of the chest lifted as you spread across the shoulder blades. Good. Stacking through the toes, lifting through the heels, and breathing here. On an exhalation, releasing the right palm down and moving to the other side. Inhale, lifting the left arm up as you lengthen through the chest. And breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Lower that left hand down, downward facing dog. And breathing here. And breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. So lower these knees down to the mat. And once again, interlace the fingers here. Opposite way. And as you press down through the wrist, forearm, fingers, you're going to lift those legs on up. And this time, just walk the feet in. And keep pressing down through those wrists, forearms, and fingers. So now we take another minute here to hold dolphin's pose. And as you hold dolphin's pose, you're going to see that you continue to press on down. And as you press on down, feel a lifting sensation happening in the shoulders, the belly, the legs. And breathing in. And breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. In. And out. In. And out. Walk those feet back. Plank pose. And lower those knees on down. So come back into your tabletop pose and exhale. Press back into downward facing dog. Good. In downward facing dog pose, you're going to lower these knees down back to the ground. So now we're going to find our way into Shirshasana's pose. So Shirshasana is headstand. And if you found that that dolphin's pose was rather challenging, then you're going to skip headstand today. You're not going to move into headstand. If you found that that pose was manageable for you, you can attempt to do headstand. You're going to take your thumb and forefinger, or your 2 pointer fingers, you're going to ride them up the top of the head to the crown of the head. And then you'll press into the crown of the head, and that's kind of where you're going to find the pose, right at the top of the crown of the head. Good. And then from here, you're going to take your blankets, and you're going to allow your blankets to be your support for the body. You're You're going to interlace the fingers here.
And release onto the crown of the head. Now lift up those legs,
and take the legs all the way up the wall. So if you find this to be very, very challenging, and actually, I'm sorry, before we begin, you do not want to move into headstand if you have a history of stroke. Let's slow it down for a second, sorry. If you have a history of stroke, if you've had a head or neck injury, if you've had some type of heart injury, then you have to be mindful. Always consult your physician before taking this pose. You can take the legs up the wall and take Viparita Karani, which is just legs up the wall. You bring your 2 hips to the wall, you sweep your legs up the wall, and then you release on down. So Viparita Karani, it looks like this. You just scoot your legs up the wall and take your legs up like this. So this is the pose that I'd recommend you take if you're not taking a headstand. You can take this pose. And that's a really nice variation. So otherwise, if you are taking headstand, you can join me here. Interlace fingers, release the head down, lift the legs up, and then breathe here. And as you take headstand, just see that you're pressing down through the fingers, press down through the forearms, press down through the wrist. So even in headstand, even though we're on our heads, you're still pressing everything down to lift on up. Now breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So just continuing to breathe here, lengthening up through those inner legs and breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. So roughly here, we're here for about 3 to 5 minutes. And when you take Shirshasana, even though it's a very active pose, it's still somewhat of a restful pose. So Shirshasana is usually the more active variation pose. And then we come to this pose actually helps us to reset our body and our nervous system. So it is an active pose, of course, yes. But it's also a pose that kind of helps us to refocus our body, refocus our attention. So the mind can slow down a little bit and the body can slow down a little bit. Yeah, you breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out.
exhale. So bend those knees, release the feet on down, and come into your child's pose. And as you take child's pose, just release the head here and close the eyes. Good. And from child's pose, we're going to lift on up. We're going to move into a counter pose to this pose. We're going to move into a shoulder stand variation. So, we don't have too many props right now. I just have a blanket. So, be very mindful here. If you have any head or neck injuries, please don't go up into shoulder stand. You can take bridge pose. We're going to move into bridge pose anyway, but you can take bridge pose with a block. That's a good way, and then take the legs up towards the ceiling. So that's called Viparita Karani legs. Again, so you can take that pose. Or if you want to try, you can try to take your variation of shoulder stand. You just want to make sure that your blankets that you use are right up along the edges of the shoulders. Maybe you have a thumb's width distance between your shoulders and the edge of the blankets. You don't want your head to be looking up towards the ceiling. You want your chin to be moving towards the chest. And then as you feel ready, you can swim the legs over the body. Now taking those legs up, you'll inhale, raise the right leg up towards the ceiling here. So usually we do one leg at a time. And as I said, this is a very modified version. I only have one blanket for the back. So usually when we do this, sometimes I have like 3 blankets, but in today's variation, just one. So just be mindful. If this feels any discomfort here, please come down. And then you're going to take the right leg, release it over, and you're going to take the left leg on up. And just breathe here as you lift up. Keep drawing that leg on up. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. So now take your left leg, extend it on up with your right, and bring your hands down your back. So you're going to walk your hands down the back and begin to allow the legs to move towards the center of the room. So as you breathe here, keep lifting up through those legs. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Now take your legs and bring them up and over the head. And release the legs back behind you. Now take your arms, bring them up over the head. And slowly look up towards those feet and slowly release the legs down. So you're going to keep looking back. That's the secret here. You look back, and as you release those legs down, it becomes a little bit more easy to release those legs down. Now, take your hands and bring your hands to the sides of your mat once again. And as you press down the feet, you're going to lift up the pelvis. Now, draw those shoulders underneath, just like shoulder stand, and you're going to interlace the fingers this time. So we should be pretty prepped for this pose because we just took Shirshasana and then we just took shoulder stand. So ideally, you can feel the entire back body moving up and in. And the neck is relaxed, the head is relaxed, so there's no pressure in the cervical spine here. Really pressing down through the fingers, wrists, shoulders, and through the legs and the feet. And as you do this pose, this is a great way for us to kind of open up the entire front side of the body. And as you exhale, lowering everything on down. So we'll take this pose once again. Interlace the fingers under the back and roll right and left, right and left, right and left. Good. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in.
Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. So lower that pelvis on down. Move your shoulders out and away. And release the head on down. And just continue to breathe here. So the chest is lifted. The heart is relaxed. The breath is relaxed and breathing here. And then from here, you'll bring your knees to a bend and you'll roll over onto your side. And as you feel ready, you'll press your way on up. And you'll find your way into a seated, cross-legged position. Now take your hands into the center chest. And on an exhale, you'll bow on down. So namaste, yogis. Have a wonderful afternoon. My name is Jason Gorenstein. This is our Hatha Yoga Level 1-2 class. I hope you guys enjoyed today's class. I will look forward to seeing you soon again. Our next Hatha Yoga Level 1-2 class is going to be Wednesday at this time. And I hope that you guys can make it to that class. So once again, my name is Jason Gorenstein. We do live streaming yoga every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Sunday actually. And if you can join us for a class, that would be excellent. So I'm so grateful to be here practicing with you guys. I hope that you all have a very lovely day. And please let me know if you have any questions. So once again, live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, I upload the videos to. And if you guys have any classes you're requesting or recommending I teach, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. So I hope that you guys have a very, very, very nice day. And as I usually share with the practice as a sign off for all of us, I hope that you guys find wellness. I hope that you guys find happiness and peace. And then as we close our practice, I usually say this. My friends, well, first of all, I say follow, hit the like button if you're watching on Facebook, hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Please, if you feel like Venmoing, please, you can send a Venmo, it's right there. But I say this, I say, be well, be happy, namaste. Thanks, guys.